Good evening, everyone.
Yes, hello everybody. It's good to see. Well, we don't see you, but it's good to know that you're here to join us for the our first trustee training session this fall, since we didn't meet during the summer. I hope everybody had a really relaxing, rejuvenating summer. And we'd like to welcome James Keehbler and Nick Bastean. James is from the Hunterdon County Library. He's the director there. And Wayne is, Wayne, why do I keep on saying that? Nick is from the Wayne Public Library. And they also are co-chairs of the NJLA Public Policy Committee. And so they're here this evening to give everybody an update of what is going on this fall and what you really need to be aware of. There's a lot that you need to be aware of. So I'm going to turn it over to James and Nick, and then of course we're going to have a Q&A. So I think Bob, you'll be looking at the at any questions that come in.
Yes. So again, like I talked to the people before this, I apologize that we're using Teams this month. We should be going back to Zoom next time we meet. But for now, there is still a Q&A button, or at least there should be, up at the top of your screen. You can use that to ask questions, or unlike in Zoom, you can put your questions in the chat. I just chatted to everybody. Hopefully everyone can see it. If you have any questions or anything like that for me, you can put them in there. And at the end of everyone's presentations, we'll go to the questions and do a little Q&A. And that's about it.
Excellent. Great. Well, thank you. Can everybody see the presentation? Great. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks for having us. As we're introduced, I'm James Keehbler, Director of Hunterdon County Library, and Nick from Wayne is the co-chair this year. So we're the co-chairs of public policy. And the next year, Eileen Palmer, who many may know, retired director of LMXAC, and Mo Ferretti from Hunterdon County Library also will be chairs. So we really work as four of us, because public policy, as discussed in a second, is nonstop. It's all year. We're looking at issues, we're advocating. It's a great committee. I first joined in 2009 or 8, right during the economic crisis. Worked with Pat Tumulty on it all. And have enjoyed it immensely. Been on and off the committee, but it's really something you get to go around and talk about how great libraries are, and I deserve everybody's support. So it's a good committee. I did want to talk about what the committee does, because not everybody's as familiar. We do monitor all initiatives and legislation, New Jersey and national. We work with different agencies to get legislation. Pat and I, many years ago, worked on the dedicated line. We did Construction Bond Act. One of the things we also developed is a legislative platform, which we'll share tonight, which is approved by the executive board yesterday. We also train members to be advocates. So we do an event. It'll be March this year. We ask everybody to go out and meet with their New Jersey legislators, but also just teach people how to advocacy. Not everybody learns that. It's more and more important all the time. So we bring people in, or we talk about what's successful. We also have a table at the League of Municipalities to do advocacy for libraries. And we get a lot of people there that maybe haven't seen different things about the libraries, mayors and council people. So that's been a great event. We look at different issues. So we have a couple of things that aren't legislative agenda items yet, but things we're looking into. We also prepare some statements. And we also work very closely with the Intellectual Freedom Committee. So historically, a lot of NJLA committees don't meet year-round, but public policy does. There's always something going on, always something we need to address, something to prepare for. As you all know, as board members, advocacy is nonstop. But we're selling a great product, public libraries. So it's satisfying that way. I enjoy the work, and Nick's been a great partner to work with, and we look forward to moving forward. So we're just going to go through, like I said, the legislative priorities were approved by the executive board yesterday. So we're going to run through some of them, talk about them a little bit. We have time for questions and answers later. We'll answer what we can. And if there's anything else that we could follow up as later. So Nick, would you like to take the first couple?
Oh, sure. So the first one is something called Library Network Aid. Now, you're probably familiar with this. This is what is responsible for all the deliveries that you have. And it's also part of what provides for Jersey Connect. And that provides library services such as the internet connectivity for libraries, Wi-Fi in your buildings, tech support, cloud-based services like your email and your website hosting. And we're actually looking to maintain that same level of funding. It's been static through the last couple of years. We had a slight increase, I think, from the last year with our advocates. But this is one of those important things where when we saw a 5% reduction in the statewide budget from this past year, we did not go down. So we're trying to make sure that that is a budget priority because you depend on some of these services, whether you know it or not.
And one of the things too with Library Network Aid, a lot of that is a match, a federal match too. So part of that's LSTIE funding. So we're keeping track of LST fund, advocating for that because this money ends up matching. So like Talking Book and Braille Center, that's a lot of match funding too. So it's something like Nick said, maintain, but also keep an eye on the federal side of it.
Yeah. So that, I think that's what I have for that. Now, the other one is per capita state aid. And you're probably familiar with this. I know James is as a director because he has to fill out this gigantic form every year with all sorts of data points to get that funding. But this helps offset some of the costs for other libraries. It is a per capita based. I think for 2024, it was around 43 cents per capita that goes out. But this helps support libraries. I think where I live in Wanacue is about $6,000 from state aid. That's helpful for small budgets when you're looking at materials, other costs that are coming through. So we're trying to get that level. I know keeping it where it is when everything's going down is one of the most important parts right now, just for that success. But this is money that really comes back to the communities to help you provide services and provide value for the people that you serve.
And Bob might know, but I believe the full budget number should be like about 11 million. So it's been underfunded forever. And it got cut.
That's correct.
Cut for many years, but so in good years we'd love the full funding, but in other years we're just like glad we have some of the funding. But it's something that we definitely want to not forget about.
Yeah, that's
wrong way. Sorry. There. Okay.
So one of the legislative priorities that we are looking at for this coming year is a bill that's already been introduced to the Senate. That was done by Andrew Zwicker, and it's Senate Bill 4520. And this is important for us and for you because this helps, or the idea behind this legislation, I should say, is to help control the ebook costs. Right now, we do not pay the same amount for an ebook that a consumer does. The licensing terms vary, and we're paying hundreds of dollars for the same material that just doesn't make sense. There are restrictions on how it can be used too. If you're paying to watch Wednesday and stream that from Netflix, it doesn't make any sense that another person can't watch Wednesday just because you're streaming it. So there are some practices that we don't like that still make sense for a digital media that are in these contracts. And so this restricts libraries from entering into contracts that have those restrictions. It's been done in Connecticut, I believe, earlier this year. I believe it was signed into law back in late May. And so we're really looking at this for New Jersey. And just to give you an example, for Passaic County here in PALS, we've purchased over 28,000 ebooks just in 2024 alone. And every one of the 20 libraries here in PALS has a minimum of 10,000 ebooks in their digital collections. And that's just ebooks. We're not talking about digital music. We're not talking audiobooks, just ebooks. And keep in mind, we're 20 libraries here, and there are 283 libraries throughout the state. So we're really looking forward to this. I don't think we'll see any movement on this before the election. But once we get past that part in November, we might see some movement on this.
Yeah, sorry, I left
Anything
out
to add
the
here?
S4520. So if you're looking up, it's S4520. That cut out, got cut out.
Yeah, so the Senate, so S4520 for the Assembly, we do not have an Assembly bill yet. It'll be a whatever they assign at that time, but it hasn't moved out into the committee even for discussion yet.
Yeah, so this one, when Connecticut passed it, it didn't go into effect until somewhere else where the population was almost exactly New Jersey had to pass it too. So when we passed it, then the Connecticut one will also go into effect. So there's been encouragement there, but then there's also other states looking at this because the money we're spending, like, we spent $17 million on digital products for people in 1 year in 2024, up from 9.3 million. So you're almost doubling in 6 years, 5 or 6 years. And if you buy a book, you got that book until it wears out. But when you're having to buy these materials over and over at higher rates, obviously digital circulation, digital usage keep going up. I mean, 4.6 million in 1 year in New Jersey. So it's great. Senator Zwicker has been a great partner. Obviously, big with Freedom Parade. Some of the things we're working on. But this is one of the ones that we want to talk about because it sounds different, but it is really going to make all these people's distributors, publishers, all that treat us fairly. Treat us like our historic role in the community as a place where people can buy these materials, borrow these materials, and use them, affordably. So it's the big one. Like Nick said, hopefully after the election, things will move. But it's one of the things we're working on. And like I said, we have question and answer at the end. So in the end, we could go through some questions. If there are any, we'll do our best to answer them. This one, school librarians. I know some people might be like, oh, we're public library trustees. But we strongly believe that we are part of an ecosystem, right? So if there's no school librarians or school librarians aren't able to do their jobs, or they're doing like everything but school libraries, or it affects us. It affects public libraries. If kids aren't getting that opportunity to read and use a library, in many towns they can't get to a public library, right? And we're all about literacy. That's our role. So I know Pat Tumulty used to describe what it would take for her if she didn't drive to get to the Trenton Public Library, right? And it's like this bus, that bus to get there. So kids having access to books in school is important. This is all part of literacy. It leads into, they've done studies about how that's for college preparedness. So we really feel like it's part of our role and trustees as well to know what's going on in the community with school librarians. You'll always get that the budgets are tough, and it's certainly with school aid being changed, formulas and things like that, it's different. But when you look at this chart, okay, the number of students per school librarian is going up when all the other positions that are on the performance report are going down. So there's more nurses, administrators, teachers per student than school librarians. So it's one of the things we're looking at. There is a bill out there to have a ratio. It's not saying every school should have a librarian. It's based on population, things like that. But it is really important in our communities. We've seen the effects. Public libraries, as you all know, don't serve the same role as a school library. It's not the same role. Now with the information literacy bill, that's a role for school librarians as well. So one of the things also we have a document we could share later about how public libraries could support school librarians, or at least learn more about what they do in their roles. So we'll share that. But this is something we're working on because we're all together. School libraries and academic libraries, we're all part of this system of people learning, lifelong learning, and being a resource and really focusing on literacy. So this is one of our priorities, and has been, and we work with the New Jersey Association of School Librarians with this, and we've been working on this for a while. So it's one of the things that, when you see this chart, it's just like, because you're only required per school district to have one school library for an entire district. So that, in some districts that might be fine, But if you have like certain towns are 120,000 people and they have one school librarian, so you're not having an effective school library opportunity for everybody. And we, it's an equity of access too. So that's another bill we're working on, or another thing we're working on, and we continue work on that.
This is, can I say something? This is Pat Tumulty. James, I think you made a great point that NJLA was very instrumental in passing the information literacy bill, and it all ties together. I mean, we can't help people, you can't help people in the public library if they don't know, and students do not have a foundation. So having school media specialists trained and working the whole group, as you said, the ecosystem, the info system is so critical. So this may look to us as public librarians like this is not important to us, but it's absolutely critical for our communities to have really well trained. And you want a trained librarian to do this, not an add-on to the English department or an add-on to some other curriculum in a school. It really needs someone who is trained, a school library media specialist. So I think it's really very important.
And then one other part of that, but mostly a lot of times when you're at a public library, your partner in the school is a school librarian. So you're bringing in programs and things like that. Having a school library media specialist is really your connection. So we do a lot. I know Hunterdon County, we partner with the school librarians quite a bit. So it's something like Pat said, it's not necessarily you think public libraries, but we're all together. We're all part of this literacy, lifelong learning spectrum.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Nick, I think, right?
Oh
no, this is me. Sorry.
Yep.
I have a different list. So obviously, we had the Construction Bond Act a few years ago, which is 2017. Wow, that's really long ago. Which is great. It took a huge amount of effort with Pat and a number of people across the state, and many trustees helped us out get that across the line. And there's some great projects coming out of that. My library's benefited from, but we quickly learned what we knew going in wasn't going to be enough. So I know at one point the state librarian said there's another 500 million in requests out there, and that's probably low. So while we have these nice success stories about these new libraries and these different projects we've done, and 40 of the projects already been done, we have like these beautiful buildings like Maplewood. There's more work to do. So we're really looking at having another bond, or many states have regular funding every year, in the budget, and libraries apply, and each year there's money, which is good because it doesn't build up to this massive level where you have all these libraries going from one pot. So there's a regular investment, that we believe would be a future. Of course, anytime you advocate for anything, the legislators are like, okay, great, where's the money coming from? So we're also trying to look at what could fund these type of things, what might be a source of funding for this. So that's something we look at, we're continuing to look at. We know it's important. It's one of the issues when we ask directors what would be great to be more construction funding for either buildings or maintenance, or like HVAC. We saw a lot of roof repair, a lot of historic buildings. A lot of libraries are, as you know, not necessarily new spaces, so we need a lot of infrastructure. So this is something that will probably always be on our radar, but we are also trying to look for other funding sources that would give us regular funding. Some of the other, some of the states that have this, Connecticut, Delaware, Massachusetts, New York, Washington. So there are a number of states that just do it every year. There's a certain amount in there. And that's a model we're looking at. Or, hey, we'll take a big check now if that works. It is always an argument because it creates jobs, construction jobs, all these jobs, and that's great for the economy. So we're hoping to partner like we did last time to advocate for more construction funding, because we know the need is immense across the state. And what the library's been able to do with it has been great. Really amazing projects. Okay, this one's to you, Nick.
Yeah. All right. So payments in lieu of taxes. So this is fun, right? We all know that our municipalities are making agreements with developers to accept payment in lieu of taxes, to take the payment now, and now you don't have to pay taxes for a little while. Unfortunately, libraries aren't really cut in on those funds. Unless you've got a fantastic mayor, city council to work with, you are not getting that money. So what we're trying to do is, for our area of interest here, is to explore that impact on libraries. We still have to serve the people that come in from all those developments that are being put in. Here in Way, we've got 3,000 units that are been approved by the city council that are going to be coming in, bringing people in. And if we get a pilot for those, well, guess what? That money's going to the schools. It's going to municipality. It is not coming to us. And now we still have to provide services, materials for all those people without having any additional resources to provide for those people. So we're going to be continuing to look at what we can do to help with maybe getting whether there's a statewide initiative. I think there was one out in Michigan. Is that going off
Yeah,
memory
Michigan
here?
and New York have had agreements where you can be in the
Yeah.
agreement.
Yeah. So we're going to kind of take a look at what the impact is and see what we can do on the other side. But this is going to be part of a more longer term plan. You see how it's our area of interest and not a legislative priority. We're going to get our information first to make sure that we understand the exact impact that these pilot programs have had on libraries throughout the state.
And yeah, one of the reasons that we really want to look at this too is, I mean, these are big numbers now, but the number of pilots, as you know, for many reasons, keep increasing. In 2019, there were 1,367 agreements, pilot agreements. In 2024, there's almost 2,600. So they continue to increase, and since it's not part of our equalized valuation, libraries aren't, I mean, the town may be giving you money from the pilots, but they're not required to. It's not part of minimum funding. So it's something like Nick said, we're looking at. We've just started looking at it, but yeah.
And that lost income just builds up over time.
Yes.
I mean, if you're losing out on $30,000 a year, that's 30,000 one year. Year two, that's 60,000. That's 90,000 by year three, and we're talking 30 years for some of these agreements. That adds up, and that's income that you don't have, you will never be getting.
Another area we're just trying to make sure we're on the inside of is artificial intelligence. You may think AI in libraries, maybe not, but as I said at the meeting the other day, I'm like, every society thing, everything going on in society ends up at the library's door, right? So either be it, workforce training of people who lost their jobs, or how to use AI or respond to AI, or the ethical elements around AI, it all at the library. So we're really trying to work to make sure we're at the table from the beginning, not the beginning, but now, because libraries, this is where people are going to show up. This is where we are very much a community. If there's a problem in the community, people come to our desks, right? Maybe they've been told to go 9 other places. Maybe they're supposed to go to one of the work centers or health department, but they come to the reference desk, right, Nick? Or they come to and say, this is what's going on. So we really want to be sure we're involved in that. So we have a group looking at making sure we're partnering with people, we're part of discussion. Senator Zwicker is also very involved in AI. So we're trying to make sure libraries, we're in the discussion so we can help. And in whatever way needed, whatever way we can help, we want to be there. Obviously, it's going to have a major impact on society, and all society ends up on our door. So it's one of another areas of interest that we're looking at. And then healthcare costs. I should say many of these, we did a survey of members. What you're concerned about, like what should public policy be looking at, and all these came up. But healthcare costs, as you all know, are a major issue for libraries fiscally. I mean, for not just libraries, but everybody. And in many ways, like we have how much it's increased, in 10 years, and, maybe you'd be like that percent-wise, not bad. But what also, is the impact is like libraries are then unwilling or unable to hire more full-time people. You're doing more part-time people. It keeps going up and you're getting less coverage and dealing with this. So really, we want to be part of the conversations about how we make things better, getting look for some partners to work with. Maybe there's an idea, maybe there's a plan out there where we can work together. Because health, benefits is, I said in here, almost 20% of all consumes 20% of local funding, just benefits. So I know, like sometimes you're looking at a full-time library assistant at X amount, but you have to double that for benefits. So, you know, it's an issue. You know, it's one of the major things affecting us all. So public policy, be looking at that, see what we can do, see what partners are out there, what are plans. I know it's a big issue across the state, be it health benefits or otherwise. So on behalf of our members, it's something we'll look at. You know, because it's one of the big issues for us all, as you all know, as trustees, when you go over that budget. Just want to mention a couple other things. We're at Library Advocacy Month. Historically, we used to do this April, but we said too late, so we're going to do it in March this year. And this is where we coordinate legislative visits to all the offices across the state. So all 40 offices, all 3 people, it's 120 people we try to visit. And we ask we have library directors from each area to go and visit. We coordinate this, talk about our priorities and our asks, but really it's more about just sharing about work information, what we do. I mean, you know, a lot of legislators or legislative aides maybe don't use the library. We normally get jokes about the Dewey Decimal Stuff system, all but when we start talking about the work we do with the ESL or Makerspace or teen services or service for new citizens, you know, their eyes are like, okay, wait, you guys can solve problems we have, right? So that's it. And building those personal relationships is, as you all know, as board members, is very important. That's the stuff that helps us now, but also when things get bad, really help us. So we're making sure we're getting back to this year, get all these visits in. We'll have a lot of new legislators this year, so it's important. We'll have a new governor. So it's really important for everybody to know our story, know about the great work we do in the community, because that is really, it's a great story, you know, for the amount of money that they pay for libraries, which some people think is too much, but we do a lot of good things, and not many people hate the library. So it's always good to go, make those connections. We also tell people, invite legislators to, to events, summer reading events, all that. We have an advocacy calendar we share with the directors, be like, hey, this month, do this or that. But Library Advocacy Month, we're gonna go out, visit all the offices. It put May in here. It is March, every time. But we'll have more information out that. But we encourage participation. And sometimes and when I was in Piscataway, I'd bring a trustee, because a trustee can really talk about what they see the library doing and the impact in the community. One other thing we're doing, hopefully the directors will consider going, is a public policy forum. So it's like this, but many hours. So we go over all the issues, talk about the advocacy efforts of our committee, intellectual freedom, NJLA as a lobbying forum, Porzio Government Affairs. So do a report. We have a keynote from Peter Bromberg about advocacy, be some presentations as well, and also about what you could do locally for advocacy. So it's a big event. So we're excited for that. It's Livingston Library, November 14th. People can come with questions or concerns. We answer it all. And it's one day that really kind of like energizes you, because all the things we're working on, right? And how you can make a difference in your community, how you can get involved. So hopefully we have a lot of directors or any staff members interested to come. I remember a couple of years ago, we were just talking about hopefully getting freedom to read pass, and that worked. And I think that's one of the things that I want to say, like, we've gotten a lot done. Like Pat was here and things like that. The library story about what we do is powerful, and we all talk and we do get things done, like the Construction Bond Act and dedicated line, all that. So it's important we stay engaged, and we're always talking about the libraries, and trustees are a big part of that. Talking positive about your library, telling people, be it town people, anybody, your neighbors, talking about how great the library is or what's going on in the library, what they didn't know about the library. Oh, you know about the library things, these type of things. It's all part of it's all key for where we're trying to go. Questions and answers. We talk fast, but we're all from New Jersey, right? So that's kind of what we do.
Yeah, James, I just have to mention, what about trustees going to the public policy forum?
Sure. Yeah, everybody's welcome. Livingston can hold a lot of people, and they have parking. So those are two really good things. Yeah, definitely. I mean, hear from the lobbyists have a lot of insight. They're, in the offices visiting, talking about the S4520, things like that. And the advocacy tips, I think, are great too, because it's one of those things like everybody thinks about doing advocacy when there's an issue, but advocacy all the time. So having these little things you could do are important. So I encourage everybody.
Yeah, no, that's good. And then just to go back to what you had said about supporting the school library media specialist. As a school library media specialist myself, I will say that yes, I really, really think that that's very important because I really don't think that that everyone, including legislators, always realize that there is a difference between what public librarians do and what school librarians do, as well as academic librarians. And they just don't get that. And in some districts, there is the belief, well, you know what, we don't need the school librarian because the public librarian can pick that up. And so trustees do really need to be aware of that and make sure that they have school librarians in their district.
Yeah, and to that, because obviously libraries get a lot of kids, right? But what percentage of the kids in the school district are coming to the public library on a regular basis that would match what a school librarian could do? It would not be 10%, I imagine. So it is a key. If we all care about literacy, freedom to read, things like that.
Right, right. And as you said, it's an issue of equity as well. So,
sure.
Yeah. But now, where are the questions? There's got to be questions.
Yeah, so I posted in the chat. I tried to get into the Q&A and it gave me an error. So so I said that, if I'm getting an error, then most likely everyone else is too. And so they can use the chat to put their questions in there. And I know the chat works because Margate Library already chatted. So so that's good. Hopefully my messages are getting to everyone else. But definitely, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, and we can pose them to James and Nick. In the meantime, if you don't mind, I could just say my little piece about the equalized valuation.
I think
stuff.
That would be great.
It's getting to be that time of year again. Beginning of October, when the equalized valuation numbers are published by the Division of Taxation. And when those numbers are published, starting October 1st, I start refreshing that page about 4 or 5 times a day, checking to see if those numbers have been published yet. And I know some of you can get them from your municipal CFO and things like that, and that's great, but we have to go by what's published on the Division of Taxation website. So once that is published, I plug those numbers into our spreadsheet that then calculates out what every library's 1/3 mil minimum amount would be. And then we publish that on the state library's website and email it out to library directors on NJ Pub Libs, the directors only listserv, and then they can communicate it to you so you all can start building your budgets. One caveat that I always tell the directors is that there are tax court appeals that happen between when the equalized valuations are put out and January 31st of the following year. And shortly after that is when the amended amounts, if there are any amended amounts, are published on that page. And then I go in and fix our spreadsheet and publish it on our website and send that out on NJ Pub Libs. So in recent years, we have seen on the average, a huge increase in equalized valuations and therefore 1/3 of the mill amounts across the state. And I always have been warning directors, make sure that sticks come January 31st, that it's not adjusted downwards by the tax courts. And then you'll know how much you have going forward. People also often ask me if I can predict where things are going, and I'm sorry, but my crystal ball is on the fritz right now. So no, I can't predict how things are going. I had no idea that 2 years ago, property values and equalized valuations are just going to hockey stick up, but they have. So we shall see. And we do have one question in the chat. If you want me to read it, I can. For S4520, this is a federal bill, right?
No.
No, it's a New Jersey bill. Yep, because it would apply to our state. Yep.
Correct. As a trustee and member of the general public, what can we do to help this pass? I was thinking that we need broader engagement with our local schools to teach parents about the services and values and services and value libraries offer, and have them also help us advocate.
Oh, so for 2316, the school librarian one, or 4520 is the ebook one, either one. But yes. Which one?
Yeah, I think either one. I
Either
mean, I
one.
think like, particularly that one, but I think the general question was getting other groups of people. This person is specifically talking about teachers to help us, to join us in advocating for these types of things.
Sure. Yeah, and we talk about not all PTAs, but those groups we've seen in many communities turn things, right? Like when those groups start pushing for things, advocates are organized. That's what they do. So we've seen when libraries got funding, things like that. When the teachers and the parents and that align, that people listen to that. So definitely.
Yep. Right. Yes.
Bob, I'm just going to say, just from looking around New Jersey, I would anticipate that the equalized valuations in many places will go up this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that it just seems property values, the way houses have been selling. Is that your sense also? And how can we prepare for that?
He just said he couldn't predict that.
So, yeah, I was going to say. So, as a state worker, or whatever you want to call it, I can't say one way or the other. I did used to be, before I was a librarian, I was a real estate appraiser for a couple of years. But even in that, that was like decades ago. So that was a totally different world. So yeah, I can't say one way or the other. You can try checking with your local tax assessor and see what they have to say. But this is not just in a single town. This is an equalized valuation, so it's equalized across all towns in the county, and so it's going to vary depending upon what the situation is on the ground in any particular town. And don't also forget, it's not just a valuation of residential property. It's all property, commercial, industrial, government property. All of it goes into that valuation number. So just looking at the real estate sales might not be the best best way to look at it and try to tease out what's going to happen when the numbers come out in like 2 or 3 weeks. So
it's all property except things under pilot agreements, just to circle back. But
right.
I was talking to a head of a consortium today, and he said, yeah, funding has gone up, but all our expenses have gone up.
Sure.
Ebooks, we have to provide more of those. Anybody who's tried to run hoopla has been like, all right, cutting, and then health benefits are going up. Everything else is going up. So as our money goes up, we're not really getting a lot of room to do what we need to do. And then when it goes down again, then it gets scary. So it's good, but also inflation is all across the board. So if we did a map of library funding and inflation, I don't know which line's going up on the other one, top of the other one. So
okay.
Yep.
Right, but I guess it's important for everybody to have like a capital plan in place, just in case, so that you have a clear plan, so you do have money put aside if you need a new roof or a new HVAC system.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. And also remember, there is a provision in the statute that says that if your equalized valuation goes up by more than 15% year over year, your municipality only has to increase it by up to that 15%. So if your equalized valuation goes up, say 16%, they could leave that 1% off. They could also give it to you. It's up to them, but they don't have to give you that extra 1% according to the statute. There's not many towns and libraries that are in that position, but there definitely have been a few in the last couple of years that I've had to email and say, hey, just so you know. Also,
did Morristown go up like 30% in 1 year or something like that? It was a lot.
Yeah, it was quite a bit. I think that might have gotten adjusted down a little bit, but it was still a huge increase. And also technically the in order to give you that amount over 15%, the municipality has to write a letter to the state librarian asking for permission to do that. And that's not something that you as trustees can do or the director can do. That has to come from your municipal CFO or a governing body or what have you, and then go to the state librarian, and then the state librarian authorizes the full amount to do that. So.
Well, I
I
definitely
see.
think your looking at pilots is very important, because many more communities are now going to these pilots, particularly when they're having new housing developments or wherever, and that impacts tremendously property values. But again, it impacts the number of people you serve. And if you're not getting part of that, so I think I applaud NJLH for looking at that process, because I think the pilot projects can be very detrimental. They're just going on all over the place, because when you want to have a new development, they talk about pilots rather than talking about the impact of property values across the board. But even with the pilots, it's all about the numbers for the school districts, the numbers for the libraries, so I do applaud NJLA for looking at that, because I think it's a very critical issue in terms of really understanding funding in the future.
Right. I did see a question from Jeff in here. What we're going to be hoping to get done this year? It's because it's transition year, new governor, new legislators, and all bills need to be reintroduced. They don't get passed again in January. Like they said, S4520, the ebook bill, that could go. That could, depending what happens, that could go pretty quickly. The other things, construction, we don't have anything yet. We're still trying to see if we can get, an annual thing or another bond. But we continue to work on that. But since we don't have anything, it does take a while. As Pat can to testify, it does take a while to come together. Pilot, like I said, at one point counties were originally left out, and counties got added at 5%. So I don't know. We're just at the beginning stages of that. We haven't looked at it before. So, but one of the things happens in this type of stuff is it's nothing, and all of a sudden you get a legislator who's motivated, or a legislative aide. Those people just will grab something. You know what it's going to be. That's why we try to have a smorgasbord of options for people, and then things just start to roll. So. Like we've had with Senator Zwicker has brought things through. So I'm not sure what is other than S4520. But we're going to try to move on, and we have work groups for each of these to work on this. So, and also I should say, we also are working on the federal advocacy. We have a group about that, but a number of the issues they're working on, I couldn't fit in this hour. So, and also we all have these priorities, but if anything changes in 2 months, major impact, then we obviously work on whatever, we do some triage and see what most important thing to work on.
But I agree with you, James. You have to consistently keep doing it, because you never know. It's sometimes something that you want could take 2 or 3 years, but if you consistently push it, it'll happen. It may take a while, and I know that sometimes can be frustrating, but keeping those priorities out there are just important, because you keep talking about them.
Yeah, and it's important for all of us as trustees to, jump on the advocacy bandwagon and
Absolutely.
Contact your legislators about any number of things. I really don't think that the majority of the public realizes the amount of money that public libraries and school libraries are paying for ebooks. As James mentioned, we can go out and go on Amazon and buy an ebook, sometimes for very, very, very little. But in the library world, they can only be used X number of times, and then you've got to buy them all over again. So this is something that is really, really needed. And I know when I was telling my own family about the price of ebooks, they had no idea. So I really don't think the public realizes the discrepancy.
And some publishers won't sell to libraries at all.
Yeah.
I mean, how that's not, they just won't do it, because they're like, no, we'll sell more through Amazon or whatever. And that's not that's not what libraries are based on, you know? So yeah, it's a threat to all of us. It's one of the issues that, you know, everybody's interested in. Hopefully that comes through.
Yeah, hopefully it will. You know, the other thing that we should really mention is the changes, those updates to the Open Public Meetings Act that are coming up in March. It's not anything that you have to be concerned about right this very moment, but as of March, there are going to be some changes. And where you used to publicize your meetings in a newspaper, you know, you're not going to be doing that anymore. And there's a few other tweaks that are going to happen.
Do we want to talk about that now, or were you gonna thought we were gonna have Douglas Zwicker
Oh, we're
on to
hoping,
talk about that.
yeah, to have a session, a future session on that. But I just want you to be aware because it is coming up and it's out there. The information is out there. And it is implemented in March.
Nick, you had wanted to say something. I saw you kind of start and stop and stuff.
Yeah, but Pat actually kind of covered that a little bit later because one of the things where you as trustees really can help is by talking to your legislators. You know, you are the faces of the communities. You're serving a fantastic institution. You're serving a wonderful community, and making sure that you're getting out, getting seen, and talking about libraries, the impact to legislators can really help when it comes time to vote on these bills, when they know this is important to a large group of people who, you know, voted for them, right? Libraries don't serve a political party. Doesn't matter who you are, we will serve you. And we will serve you no matter what. Like we are your trusted institution for information, learning, exploration, recreation, what you need. So make sure you talk to them, even if it's just a couple minutes to say, thanks for voting on a particular bill. Get out there, get known, make sure they know who you are. And if you really want to make an impact, get a really good relationship with the aide. They're the ones who get everything done.
They do all the real work. And like we said earlier, like it doesn't need to be asking for something, but just like talk about what the library does. It can be stats or it could be a personal story. You know, like I remember we at Piscataway, we had citizenship classes and we had a green card ceremony at our library. And we talked about that. And, you know, that was like, that really connected with people. You know, kids making things in makerspace or doing an engineering thing where they're like doing something, then making it better. Like these type of things, those stories are so valuable and they're, you know, they're fun to tell. It's what your organization is doing. Also with advocacy, one of the things that every library, when the director there did his speech, he's like, you are the library, right? So like advocacy about libraries in general, but when they know, you know, Alan's library, you know, so they know Alan. So that's a connection beyond just knowing what the library does. So when you go out, you're the library. More connection, more people they know for the library, the more there's personal connection for the library, that's stronger advocacy beyond even what you do. So I know in my library, always sending my people out. You know, they know the children's librarians, they know the teen librarians, they know all those things they go out to outreach events and connections they make, that's all advocacy. Because it's a personal face for everybody, you know. Oh, the library, somebody in the library, I'll call James, you know, or you know, ask the children's librarian things or things like that. So that's important key is just going out and being a person that loves the library, talks about the library, and is that personal connection. Sorry, I know we've gone long. Sorry, Pats.
No, this is excellent. This is excellent. No, thank you.
So I don't have an agenda in front of us. Or is the next person to talk Jen Brenner? Or do we have anything else to talk about while we're waiting for her to come back to us?
You know, one of the things, since we're on right now, I will remind you that we are going to have our next session on October 22nd. October 22nd, and it's going to be on sustainability and resilience, which is something really important. NJLTA endorsed sustainability and resilience last year, and we just want to offer more of an update how your library can be involved in any number of ways. So that's going to happen in October. And then I do want you to be aware that in November, Not only are we having the public policy, the NJLA Public Policy Forum on the 14th, but on November 15th, there's going to be a Friends and Foundation forum, I think it is. And that's going to be in person, and I believe it's going to be down, and I think Ellen is on, it's going to be down in, oh, is it Monmouth? I can't even think. Isn't that terrible? I can't think of the location. Come on, Alan, put it down and say what it is.
I think it's Monmouth County, I believe. Yeah.
It is Monmouth County, right? Monmouth County Public Library. And that's going to be in person, and it is excellent. And I know it doesn't have the word trustees in it, but as you know, your friends and your foundation are really, really important to your library. So that's good. And I do see that Jen is here. So that is excellent. The timing is perfect.
So thank you, everybody. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, just
you're welcome. Thank you very
let
much.
Pat know, and we'll do our best.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
very
you.
much for coming, both
Thank
of
you so
you.
much.
If you guys want to stay to hear about the freedom to read stuff, I don't know if you guys have probably heard it all already.
Yeah.
So
You probably know.
but
And
no,
you've had
it's
a
all
long
right.
day.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank
night.
you very, very much. Thank you. We
All right,
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
Let me.
Bye-bye.
I'm gonna try to share my screen here. My computer is chugging along. 1 second. There we go. All right. Can everybody see that PowerPoint?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
Jen, you can speak? Yay!
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Jen Brenner. Some of you might know me as Jen Sherman. I am currently the Deputy State Librarian in charge of library development at the New Jersey State Library. So some of you may or may not be familiar with Freedom to Read. It's an act that was passed last year by Senator, by the state, but was proposed by Senator Zwicker, to help us deal with the challenges that have been happening in libraries. So these are the people throughout the state who worked on this project with the state librarian Jen Nelson and myself. Next slide, Bob. There we go. Now here's the timeline. This is what you're really going to be concerned with. So there are policies and forms that are going to be coming along with this that will help us streamline the way people can challenge materials in your library. It will hopefully stop the outside people from outside of your area. So in the past, there were a lot of groups through social media and such that would find out that a library had a book, and then they would mobilize, and they would send in tons of requests, but they wouldn't even be in the state, let alone in your town. So we're going to be rolling out those finalized policies and forms, and they'll be on the New Jersey State Library website by the end of the month. And then next month, we are holding some technical assistance sessions. Those will be hopefully attended by your directors, and you may also attend. That will walk you through the policies and how to use them and how to help create your own. And then originally we had assumed that these would go into effect in early 2026, but the state librarian and I, as well as when we consulted many other people, we realized that that's a really tight timeline for policies. So these policies and everything will need to be in effect, but no later than December 30th, 2026. So next one, Bob. Click. There we go. So this is just an overview. The reason that we did it, I'm not going to read it all for you. You guys can all read. And yep, there it is. So there's the purpose, the reason why we did it, the scope, and the principles. We want to really support we want to protect First Amendment rights. We want people to be able to challenge materials if they want to, but we want them to do so in a respectful and streamlined way. Next, Bob. Yeah, there we go. You'll hear a lot about reconsideration requests. So for trustees, you guys are really going to be playing a part in the fact that your director is going to be creating a lot of policies and procedures that you will have to look over and then eventually pass. the boards are responsible for the adoption, so that's where it falls really onto you. So it's important that you touch base with your director starting in January about where they are with these policies and procedures. And, so that way we can all make sure the timelines are in. And we will always be available for any kind of questions or concerns that you have or suggestions that you may have. Jen and myself, our contact information is at the end of this PowerPoint. And these are, again, why it matters, right? We have to protect intellectual freedom. We have to build community trust. We have to support equity and diversity. We have to have legal compliance because the act, a lot of the wording and the forms comes directly from the act that was passed. So we have to make sure that we are doing exactly what we say that the act is going to do. So a lot of it may seem like a hassle, but it really is for the best of all of our libraries. Next, yes. So 2 policies, 1 form. So you don't have to, what's important you have to understand is that these are model collection policies and model forms. These are not forms that you have to adopt. You don't have to adopt word for word. These are just some ideas that you could use, but they do have things, and there will be a checklist that shows what you must have in your policies and what must be included on the forms. We will do a compliance check at the end of 2026. We're not really sure exactly how that's going to look yet, but we will be going through library to library to make sure that those policies and the policy and the policies and the form have been created and that they do meet the requirements of the law. Phew. Okay, so the model policy for curation, it identifies the freedom to read components, it incorporates best practices recommendations, and is a comprehensive document. Same thing, reconsideration. And then there's the form. And the form will really tie together both the both policies. So it's really just the one form where they can do both things. And on that form, we will ask for them to be a what is it called? An invested party, which means like they have to be served by your library. So somebody from Gloucester County can't go up to Sussex County and be like, I didn't like that you have this book. I want it removed. You don't have a vested interest in that. So therefore, in that collection, so therefore that would just negate that request for consideration. So again, we will have a checklist. It's pretty much just tells you what needs to be in there. So you can look at your collection development policy and say, oh yes, this is already in there. Your request for reconsideration policy and request for reconsideration forms. Oh, right, we just missing this one language. We can put that in there. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're not trying to make you rewrite your policies. A lot of policies will probably already have the majority of everything that is needed and may need just like 1 or 2 lines added. Oof. So these are all the good things that you need to know, right? We need to establish the review committee at the board's annual meeting. So there is a review committee that has to be formed, and the specifications of that is within the act, and you will see that. So don't stress about that. And again, if there's questions about that, you can let us know, and we will be happy to walk you through it. And there we are. So who has questions? I'm sure everybody does.
Yeah, so I don't see any questions in the chat right now, but people might be typing or something like that. Like you say on the slide, there will be a question and answer document forthcoming to kind of hopefully head off some questions that you and your directors may have. The first question says, how is Buckles impacted by this?
So every library is impacted by this. It's not by consortia, it's by individual library. So what will happen is that each library will have to adopt 2 policies and a form that follow the checklist and follow the law of the Freedom to Read Act. And then, all decisions are really local. There is a lot of openness in this act that allows for local decisions. So like who the governing body is a local decision. Who is on the review board is a local decision. So those are a lot of things that are local decisions that were left open for that reason, because we realize that there are many different libraries, different types of libraries that serve different communities, so that have different materials in them. So we are trying our best to cover everything that we can by the law.
And these information sessions, Jen, are they going to be sent out on NJSL Direct, or what listservs will they be sent out to people for people to register?
They will be. They've already gone out, I believe, on NJSL Direct. But we will also probably send them out on Publibs just to make sure we can hit everyone. And then we will probably, now since I'm here, we will probably send them to the PATS so they can send them out to the NJLTA.
I already did.
list.
I
Oh,
actually,
see?
Oh, great.
yeah, I put the dates in that last update, the September update. So,
Okay,
and I'll
thanks,
do it
Pat.
again. I'll do it again. We'll make
Perfect.
sure that we have it on the website and that.
Yeah, with the
Because
links.
yeah,
the
I think it would be
registration
very
links.
valuable for some trustees to attend. And having served on the committee, yeah, I think Jen, what you said is right. I think people will find that they don't have to make huge changes to what they have already, that it might just need to be tweaked and make sure that they're using the language that is incorporated in the bill.
Great.
And then there are the Jen's contact information. There's multiple Jen. There's way too many Jens and Pats in this whole
This is in this
Yes.
whole organization.
whole
right?
thing. Yeah.
Jens and Pats, that's all you got. That's all you
Yep.
got.
That's true.
Yep. Exactly.
I know.
And let's see, anything else? Nope, that's it. So I'm going to go back to
Jen,
that,
can we link this on the NJLTA website? It's a great overview.
It is.
So I think, I think this is what Jen and I were going to use for the session. So I'm sure that, Jen owns it, but I will ask her if she can link it to the site, and as well put it on our site as well. I did tell her, I
That's
think it
good.
is a very good, very good overview, and it's very easy to read for a lot of people who
Yes.
don't really have an
Yes, it
idea
is.
of what the act is. So,
Mhm.
so we'll definitely make sure to get that out to everyone because it's coming, and I just think there was a lot of anxiety about it, thinking that there was going to be big changes and that everyone was going to have to rewrite everything, and that's not really what's happening. It's not the purpose. The purpose is not to make things more difficult for the trustees or the library. It's actually just to try to streamline things to make it easier for us to handle those requests that come in.
Mhm. No, this is an excellent overview that I think the trustees would find very helpful.
Great. I will let Jen know that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
yeah, I don't think I have anything else unless anyone else has anything else to
Oh, I think
Okay.
we already mentioned October 22nd, and
I'm going to be
Um,
creating the Zoom for that, and in the next few days, I guess, and sending that out on the various listservs that we send things out on.
good.
And yeah, but
Oh, that's
other than that, I think everything's good. So with that, thank you all for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it, and we will see you in October.
All right.
That's right. Thank you so much.
Thank
Yep.
you.